It's time for the big show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andy Gallo.
And I'm Country Jim.
And welcome to the podcast. Got Don Martinez with us. And I'm going to let you lead off here, Country.
Well, I really, I'm excited about having him. I mentioned him some time ago that I thought we ought to have Don on. I used to go to a Saturday jam up at Borski's. Mm-hmm. And
you'll sit around a table, right? Is that what you
yeah,
did?
a big round table.
Most of the time, unless you fell out of the chair.
But I've heard him on a number of occasions, and I really like his I like his music, and I like his spirit in presenting himself as an entertainer. Don, I don't know hardly anything at all really about your child. I say on here that we all started out as a child.
Some still are.
I've regressed to those days. Tell me about your childhood and any musical instruments, influences, and learning to play guitar or whatever.
I attribute most of my musical influence to the fact that my grandmother had a restaurant. We had one of the restaurants. My uncle had one of the other restaurants. So growing up, the jukebox and saving, it used to be a fight to see who would get the 45s. And I remember Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. Mm-hmm. I remember Johnny Cash. Mm-hmm. I remember all those things. And then I asked for a horse in 1968. And I told Santa Claus about it. And I was assured that it was going to happen. And there's a picture of me holding up a guitar. I was 4 years old, and I was not happy about it. And I think my dad probably rethought that. He should have bought the horse.
That is good.
So that's the background, basically. It was a little bit different. And then my mother hated hee-haw, so it wasn't allowed to be watched. But when I got a little bit older, the Midnight Special, mm-hmm. I was mesmerized by the Midnight Special, and even Soul Train.
Yeah.
It was a weird time. I was born in 1964, but that's where we started. And I know that my father, the first major influence was the old record players that had the console.
Oh yeah.
At Kmart, or Grant City, that was in Huntsville, they had just opened up about 1970. Had a record section, mm-hmm. and Johnny Cash had that album in 1968, I believe it was, live at Folsom Prison. I wore that record out, mm-hmm. and as a 4-year-old, I would go in there, and I was allowed, to go in there and play in the living room. Mm-hmm. But I just imagine and look through that album cover back and forth. So that's that was my early influences for sure.
Do you remember? I remember the first two songs I learned to play and sing on the guitar. Do you remember, was it a Johnny Cash song, or when you started saying, okay, I'm going to play and sing myself, you remember any of the early songs that you, would it have been rock and roll? Or?
Don't laugh, but it was Little Brown Jug. Huh. So I found an old Mel Bay thing and tried to figure out chords. But my grandfather did a little bit of, how would you put it? He would loan money to people in exchange for you left something at the house, and somebody left a guitar there. And after the restaurant, I would go down to the house and I would play on that guitar. And it was one of the ones, it was a combo unit that you could get from Sears and Roebuck, and it was a Telecaster. And that was my first deal, and I would go through there. And then my brother in 1972 had won a Yamaha FG200 and FFA, and never learned how to play it. And whenever I was 16 or 15, he came to the house. He'd already moved out. He was 7 years older than I was, but I thought it was Mom and Dad coming down the hallway, so I didn't put the thing up or whatever. So he came in the room, and I was playing Led Zeppelin, and I turned around and just, because he was 7 years older than me, and he goes, "How long have you been doing that?" And I was like, just today, you know. And he knew I was lying.
So you would say basically then kind of rock and roll was your main thing.
To a certain degree, probably more acceptable. Roy Orbison.
Yeah. Okay.
Back then, families would get together after church, and you go over to Aunt's house and have coffee and cake, and we'd go back in the back, and everybody had like a little turntable, and we'd all take 45s that were rejects from the record, and so we would play a little bit of everything.
Well, I love your vocals.
Hey, can we get you to play something?
Absolutely. Let me grab me guitar. Well, hello there. Lord, it's been a long, long time. How am I doing? Lord, I'm doing fine. But it seems now, for so long now, seems like only yesterday. Ain't it funny how time just slips away? So I love Willie Nelson. Years ago, I wrote a song and influenced Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan was another one that, honestly, I've only been to enough concerts, probably less than 5 or 6. I just don't like crowds, which is kind of weird because people ask me, how do you get up on stage? And I said, this is my magic wall.
Yeah. Plus, you're on stage.
And I'm on stage.
You're not. Yeah. You're not with all the.
Yeah, my wife, she'll tell you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I get anxiety. But if I go into a green room and I'm sitting back there and then I walk out on stage, I've been in front of 20,000 people before. Right. It does not bother me. I feed off the energy, but I'm socially awkward. If you put me in, I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't really know what to do. I don't enjoy going to see other people. I've been called a musical snob because I don't support other bands, but that's not the case. There's some people like Kevin Carter. I've gone to see him. I've gone to see Leslie. I've gone to see a lot of my friends that I respect musically. I'm trying to steal their chops. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah,
sure. Hey, talk about the Raising Cain now and who's all in that band and how y'all got together or whatever. How that all took place.
That's an interesting story. I had just met Rick Sousley whenever he was, he had put out, I think it was Patsy Proof. And he had some backing, was on the radio and so forth. It was a Saturday jam at Borski's, and Rick came in, and when I first heard him, he was good, but I didn't see anything that really kind of jumped out at me. You know, I just thought, he's a country crooner. But we exchanged telephone numbers and actually got to talking. Barry introduced the two of us together. So about, I guess, maybe a month later, he and I were talking on the telephone about doing some things, and he was talking about going overseas, and he ended up going, but asked me if I'd be interested in going, I think it was either Germany or Switzerland or somewhere like that. So that's Rick Sousley, and Barry did a phenomenal night that night. He said, I want y'all here every Wednesday doing the same thing. So every Wednesday for many years, we used to do that. And I did run into Bob, Robert Bice. He was still working for the railroad at the time. And that's the 3 core members. Everybody else is a floater. Depends upon where we're playing or whatever. But Marty Holmes is another one that we met at Borski's. Marty's mother. Steel player. Phenomenal steel player. And Marty's mama used to come up, Tamalia, and she would bring him up there to play with us. And he'd eat a hamburger and sit up there and play. And then Steve Pipkin, a good guy from over in Cleveland. He's in the other one, and we used to play with Robin Mims, and I got to play with what's the granddaddy of pedal steel, Herb Remington.
Herb Remington.
Yeah. Herb told me, he says, I was doing some pedal steel bends one day, and I was going through, and I said, do that little thing or whatever. So I was doing it with my Telecaster, and I like. And he was like, I don't like guys like you. You make it tough for guys like this. So that's basically the core members, and we still do it as Raising Cain, but it used to be the Rick and Don deal, and it was Don Martinez, and the Don Martinez band was the original band. And
that's before Sowsley and everybody else. Yeah.
Okay. And I used to play with some,
and that was mainly rock and roll, or
it was a mixture. I used to get corporate jobs a lot of times.
Okay. Got to play everything there.
They control your music and things like that.
So you never did really do the straight rock and roll, right?
Not really. Not really. For an example, it used to not be uncommon back in the days of unsobriety. You would come to see me, and you would hear George Strait, Merle Haggard, Jimi Hendrix, Allman Brothers, Steely Dan.
Kind of a good mixture.
There's two. Well, Barry Pollock said this a long time ago, because I didn't fit into Borski's whenever I first went. The first song, Sam and them still actually owned it.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and Dan Weaver was there. I'm not sure if you remember Dan, but Dan he used to play with all the older guys or whatever. But Dan Weaver came up to me, and he says, you a musician? And I said, I'll play a little guitar. So he turned around. He said, I told y'all he's a guitar picker. So they invited me to play a song. And so I got up and I played Stevie Ray Vaughan, like Pride and Joy or something like that. And Sam, remember, Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Page. He's like, well, thank you for coming out today, and I hope to see you again soon. And I said, everybody else got 5 songs, and I got 1. I didn't fit.
You didn't,
I didn't fit. But Willis was a strange place back then. I had just moved back from Austin. I'd been working for Motorola Engineering, and I didn't play but at my house. And from 1987, whenever I went through my divorce, until about 98, I didn't play. I just didn't do it. So in 2000, I had met a carpenter buddy, and he says, you ought to go down if you're looking for somebody to play with. They have music down there in Willis. And I'm like, really? So I would go to the Saturday jams, and it was old country back then, solid old country, 40s and 50s.
Oh, sure.
So I didn't fit in. When Barry bought it, was about the time that I showed up. Barry wanted to change the format, and and I agree with him. There's 2 different kinds of music. There's the good kind and the bad kind. Mm-hmm. The kind of people that you like and the kind that you don't like.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Right.
You can appreciate anything if you listen to it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where the start, and the problem with Don Martinez band, especially in this area, we got booked over in Shepherd one night, and these ladies all showed up. They thought we were a salsa band. Yeah, stigmatism. Right. And so
change your name.
Yeah. That was one of the deals.
Oh wow,
But I loved seeing you and Sowsley song swap
y'all
because the contrast was great.
What works with us, that because there's some phenomenal guitar players that he's played with. Mm-hmm. I just am, and just another guitar player. I'm not a vocalist. I'm a guitar player. Rick is not a guitar player. He's a vocalist. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's not any competition.
Right.
My goal has always been to make him sound better and give him that confidence. And I feel that he does the same thing with me, except for songs he doesn't like. Then he purposely,
Now, did y'all both sing harmony on the others' if y'all are swapping songs and it's his song, did you sing harmony or did y'all not have harmony at all? I thought I remember y'all.
We do now. That was a
Yeah.
developed thing, and I remember watching Rick because I got a bad habit of slouching, and you cut off your air. And whenever I first met Rick, I mean, he was flat as a board, and it's effortless. Mm-hmm. He makes it look too easy.
He does.
And that's you see the same thing. Years ago, we opened up for Ray Price back in like 2006. Jeff Woolsey, I think, was part of that whole deal. It was at Magnolia Music Fest. So, and Corey Morrow was there. And sitting beside somebody, you don't get any better playing with people that are less than you are. You get better by playing with people that are better than you. Mm-hmm. And Rick his vocals, it's intimidating. I mean, to sing after him, it takes a lot, and I'll never be him. Right. And at the same time, he'll never be me. Right. But you put the two of us together, and we complement each other.
But we sure do appreciate you being here, man.
Oh, man.
It's been
We've had a good time.
Why don't you play us out with something? Play us out with a little something there. We'll catch you folks on the next one.
Yes.
That's
All
pretty.
right.
Thanks for listening to The Big Show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
This has been a Unicap Media presentation.